Beards are still undeniably cool, but they're not for everybody. So today we're gonna look at some of our favorite celebrities and decide whether or not a beard is the right look for them. My name's Matty Conrad, and this is the Grooming Guide. Ryan Reynolds. Now, first of all, speaking as a Canadian, I just want to make it clear to you that Ryan Reynolds is a goddamn national treasure. Now, we're used to seeing Ryan Reynolds quite often either with a beard or without one, so this is kind of a tough call. Here's a picture of Ryan Reynolds with a beard that is nice and short and not outlined, and it gives him a really nice, friendly vibe, generally handsome. He's got a bit of a rough and ready look, but let's have a look at his beard when it is over-groomed. There is an element to over-grooming your beard that can start to make you look like a mid-90s television show illusionist. But when it comes to Ryan's facial hair, I think keeping things short and tidy, but not necessarily outlined, again, is a great look for him. I think there's something about just being able to augment the shape of his face and his jaw. It gives him a little bit more of a maturity, and I really like the look on him overall, especially when you contrast it against no facial hair at all. In which case, he's got a great jawline. I mean, there's objectively nothing wrong with this guy's face, but it's almost too much. It's like there's just too much handsome there. Leave some for the rest of us. Keep the beard. André 3000. André 3000 is a style icon. This guy has absolutely taken his look to very, very solid extremes. And a lot of the time he likes to change his facial hair inside of that. Now let's look at him with a full beard here. You can see that it really fills out the bottom area of his face and gives him an overall rounder kind of shape. But when you transition to something more of a goatee style, you can see that it stretches the face shape out and makes him look a little longer and leaner. Now there's varying degrees of how well sculpted that beard style is. You can see with the mustache and anchor style, it's very, very sculpted and looks a little bit much. I actually kind of prefer him in the first shape, which is just a little looser, more casual. It has a I care less what you think kind of vibe, and I think that always reads really well when it comes to style. So when it comes to André 3000, I like him with a bit of a goatee style, not necessarily a full beard. David Beckham. David Beckham is also a style icon, but I think he has a very different style. And it's really transitioned throughout the years. He's tried many different haircuts and many different looks. But the one that I think he settles on the most when it comes to his facial hair is what we call shaped stubble. And shaped stubble really gives you the outline or the shadow of a beard without necessarily creating a lot of texture or change to the face shape. Grooming tip number 98. If you find trimming your beard once a week to be too high maintenance, try shaving. My favorite look for David Beckham is when he wears shaped stubble that is nice and kept neat and short, but not necessarily outlined. He already has a very strong growth area, so he doesn't necessarily need to enhance that using sharper lines. You can see here in this style that he's starting to grow his shape out a little bit, and it makes him look a little frumpy and a little bit more chubby in the cheek area. And in this next shot where he's just a little bit leaner looking, that's because it's kept nice and tight and he hasn't allowed it to grow out and create like a wider silhouette for his face. But now let's look at David Beckham without a beard at all. I mean, I know this is an older photo, but he kind of has a baby face, and I think that wearing that stubbled shape really brings out more of a masculine sex appeal. So for me, I'm gonna have to say short stubble is his best look. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is a great representation of somebody that uses his beard to give him a more rough and ready appeal. It's never over-groomed. It's always just a little rough, and I think that's perfect for him. I've seen pictures of him and film roles where he's gone clean shaven, and while he is objectively an incredibly handsome man, he always looks better with a beard to me. It just seems to suit his personality better. I mean, Tom Hardy always looks like he should perpetually have a bit of a Mad Max vibe, or like he just climbed off of a really scary looking motorcycle. You know, so for me, this type of shape on him works really, really well. I mean, here he's got a little bit more of a grown out beard, and even though his beard growth is not particularly dense, it grows in all the right places. It gives him a very strong looking chin, which is what's so great about this look for him. And even when he wears a shaped stubble, it's not really that shaped. It's just kind of grown in, and there's something about it that really works for him. This does not work for every guy. A lot of guys, when they try and grow this kind of shape in that doesn't necessarily have any outline or any kind of cleanup to it, they just start to look kind of dirty. But something about that works for Tom Hardy. Grooming tip number 900. When trimming your beard, less is more. Start small, remove more as needed. If you start with too much, you may be back to the drawing board. Expressing your personality through your beard is not just about the shape that you choose, it's about the way that you groom it as well. Now, if I had to pick between clean shaven and bearded, I'm 100% bearded on this one. Dev Patel. Now, Dev is a perfect example of what you should do if you have a patchy growth. This one is for my patchy kings out there, okay? Just because you don't grow a full thick beard doesn't mean you can't have something that can be complementary to your face shape. You can see here in this image that he's actually grown out a really nice even dispensation of hair, and it gives him just a little bit of a rougher feel, and he's paired it really nicely with a hairstyle that works with that vibe. So this is a really great way to grow a little bit of a beard without necessarily overdoing it. When you have hair like this that is a little bit patchy, the longer you grow it, the more diminishing returns it can have. So it's actually probably a good idea to keep it a little on the shorter side, which is really good because right now, shorter beards are starting to come back into fashion and longer beards we're not seeing as much. Now, it's not that you can't grow this style out, it's just that when you do, it's gonna start taking on a very different shape. Now you can see here that as he starts to grow the beard out, he's playing to the strengths of his beard, but the darker areas and the heavy mustache and the shaping starts to make him look kind of like a villain. So my favorite look for Dev is definitely gonna be the shorter, closer, little bit rough beard without the strong outlines. Common. I've always really loved Common's style. It's always been really understated and very classic and cool. He's not somebody that chases a lot of trends, and he's definitely somebody that has a great understanding of his own style. But when it comes to his facial hair, you can see he's tested the waters in a few different shapes. But when it comes to Common's face shape, he's really created a nice kind of square shape on his beard. I like him with a fuller beard. I think this looks really good, and he keeps it very well maintained, which is very complimentary to his face shape. And instead of letting everything turn very, very round, as often happens with bald guys, he's got a really nice strong anchor to the bottom of his face shape, which creates this strong jaw shape for him, keeping things a little more square. Another really great way to do that is sometimes by wearing a goatee style, which he's also done. Having a goatee style is a great way to elongate your face shape, especially if you don't have hair on top. It can give you just a little more interest to your face and create a slightly more square shape. As far as which one I prefer, I think I'm gonna go full beard on this one. Now, I know I said short beards are in, but something about that look works for me, and I kinda dig it. Jack Harlow. Now, Jack Harlow is somebody that I don't think is particularly well known for his beard. I mean, he's got those really awesome curls, and I think girls find that really dreamy, which is great. But when it comes to his beard, it's not super thick or super defined, and that's okay. Like, don't let yourself be discouraged just because you can't grow the thickest beard on earth. But it does mean that when you're wearing certain things with it, you are going to emphasize the shape or thinness of the beard, like turtlenecks. Turtlenecks is not a good style choice when you have a really thin, patchy beard that you're trying to grow out, because it really shows how thin and how patchy it is, especially if you're using solid colors like very black or very white. Very black is gonna show almost entirely the outline of the beard, and it's gonna make the hair appear lighter. A white background is actually gonna show how thin and see-through the beard is. So if you have this type of beard, make sure you're not pairing it up with very solid, bright colors that you're wearing underneath it, and try and keep your neck area somewhat exposed. Jason Schwartzman. Jason Schwartzman is, I think, a very transformative actor. I love all of the stuff that he does with his Wes Anderson films, especially because he uses his facial hair to capture and embody elements of his characters. And that's one thing that I think is really interesting. People that try different facial hair really does express different things. Look at this picture of Jason Schwartzman with a full beard. Like, my God, look at that thing. He looks like a high fashion model. Like, this is just a very cool look, and maybe it's the longer hair, maybe it's the suit, but I think the beard is doing a lot of heavy lifting. But what it really demonstrates is what he's capable of growing. Now let's look at a couple of the other styles that he chooses through some of his films, like this one from Asteroid City. This was a very bold choice. He's got very low lines, it disconnects from most of the rest of his face shape, his disconnected mustache, he's got that little soul patch in the middle. It definitely has a kind of an older timey vibe to it, and it's not what we see in most modern beards. But it also kind of draws his face shape out and makes his cheeks look a little droopy. So sometimes when you take those lines too low, they really start to expose a lot more of your face than you wish it had, and it changes the overall shape. I mean, let's go back to here where he just has a mustache. And again, you can see what a dramatic difference his face shape takes on when you adjust the size and volume of his facial hair. I have seen him without facial hair as well. It makes him look a little bit younger. And overall, I think the most striking look here for Jason is the full beard. John Cho. Now, John Cho's an actor that we're used to seeing clean shaven, without a beard at all, but we came across this picture of him with a goatee, and I'm here for it. I honestly think this looks a little bit more badass. This has got kind of a cooler look for his face, especially when contrasted against how he looks without a beard at all. Now, when it comes to the density of a goatee or the shape of a goatee, sometimes you just have to work with what you got. So he's just playing with the areas of his face shape that are probably the fullest and most dense, which creates a really nice shape around his mouth, a little bit of articulation, and a stronger point at the bottom of his face. This is a very flattering look for John. When it comes to a goatee, there are a few things you want to think about when it comes to making it suitable to your face shape. First of all, when you don't have a strong growth that connects your soul patch down to the main part or the anchor part of the goatee, you really quickly get into a shape that we refer to as a circle beard. And a circle beard can look okay, but it's not always the most flattering thing. The way to keep it flattering is to make sure that those sidelines are nice and straight. Keeping those right angles nice and strong prevent things from looking a little too circular around the mouth, in which case it just kind of makes your face look wider and a little chubbier. Honestly, I like John Cho with a goatee. DJ Khaled. Now, when it comes to beard shapes that look like this, you'll probably notice something looks a little different. I mean, it goes from 0 to 100% density within the space of a few millimeters. And that's not actually realistic. And that's because beards like this rely on something called enhancements. They're usually a paint or a powder product that are used to make the beard appear more dense. And there's a lot of artistry that goes into doing this type of beard, but there's not a lot of permanence. They're spray-on hair fibers, and they use different shapes to try and enhance the look of a beard, which is a really cool look that day. So if you are looking at a picture of this and wishing you could have this beard, you're probably not gonna have it with your own natural growth. This is the type of thing that you're gonna need to go to a professional for, and those enhancements, they really only last a couple of days. So if you're planning on wearing this out for something, you're gonna have to go get it redone like that day and pray that it's not raining. But when it comes to whether or not this beard shape works for DJ Khaled, it most certainly does. The actual shape that has been, let's just call it painted on his face, is very flattering to his look. It works perfectly with his face shape and also works with his style. So it's not a judgment call on whether or not it's okay to wear enhanced beards. It has everything to do with whether or not those enhancements are gonna complement or detract from the face shape. And in this case, I think it works pretty good. Tom Ford. If I could pick one phrase to describe Tom Ford, it would be understated cool. The thing about his style and about his design work is that it's always been very classic and timeless, and very seldom is it overtly flashy. But it is always cool. And I think he takes that same approach with his facial hair. I love the look of Tom Ford with a beard, and I don't want to see him with a full beard. I like him with just a short, clean stubble, because it really enhances the look of his face. It gives the maturity of his years that he has earned, but overall, he looks great both ways. The one thing I will say is in this particular picture, this is a little bit of a weird thing, because normally when you wear a beard style, it blends into your haircut. And here you can quite clearly see where Tom's sideburn has kind of been left a little more solid. What that tells me is he very likely didn't get that done in a barbershop or a hair salon. That was likely something that he decided to grow in after he got his haircut. So that's a good tip for you guys that want to grow in a beard. Make sure that once it grows to an adequate length, you blend it into your sideburn to make it look a little more uniform and cohesive with the rest of your haircut. I mean, there's not a lot of bad things you can say about Tom Ford when it comes to style. In fact, I feel weird talking about Tom Ford's style because he is style. And I'm just a barber in Canada with a beard and a cowboy hat. Jeffrey Wright. Now, when it comes to guys like Jeffrey Wright, this is an actor that's made a fairly significant transition in front of us. We've seen him go from having a little bit of hair and no beard to having no hair and a lot of beard. And one of the things I really like about his beard is its density. He's got a really nice dense growth on his face shape, and he keeps it in that salt and pepper kind of shape, but still nice and tightly groomed. The cool thing about this is it really enhances the shape of his jaw. It gives him a really strong, prominent jawline and makes him look, I think, objectively very handsome. So Jeffrey Wright with a beard is an absolutely fantastic look. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Maybe you agreed with me on some of these assessments and maybe not. Either way, that's cool. Style is all about wearing what you have confidently. And if you like it, then it's cool. If you think we left somebody off this list, drop a comment below. I mean, there is a whole wide world of beards out there to explore. And maybe we can explore them together. Until then, good luck and good grooming.